Hi, everyone. Welcome to another live stream Monday edition on Crypto Tips. My name is Heidi.
And I'm Toby.
And we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to talk about the newest DeFi hack. Chain analysis is able to track some privacy coins. Ooh. And whatever happened to that one guy who paid $2.5 million to send like $100 worth of Ethereum. We'll see what happens.
I don't know.
And you guys,
I'll talk about the economy.
Toby's got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So,
not a lot.
hi everyone in the live chat. Great to see you here. Johan, Savage, Metameme Machine, Tracy Stark. Tracy was asking how the waves have been.
Oh,
Surf
non-existent today. Which is weird.
That's not true. There definitely are waves there.
But
there's definitely it's blown out. Totally windy.
It's about 6 feet, 2 meters, which is really small for her.
Okay, for Toby.
Yeah.
Toby's scale and normal scale isn't normal.
I don't
By
want to go
the way.
surfing. I'd rather go live.
Hey, Afi. Hey, Tasman. Good morning. Good to see you guys here. Dynamite, Brad, Jonathan. Okay, cool. Hi,
Carlos.
everyone.
What's up, Carlos?
Carlos.
Johan. Yeah. Cool.
Jan. Bon dia.
Hey, Jan.
I love seeing you guys here.
Blockchain
Nice.
first, Bobby Lee. Bob Lee.
Bob Lee.
Not Bobby
Not
Lee.
the Bobby Lee.
I'm like, wow,
Maybe.
Bobby Lee.
Maybe.
Tracy, what's up? Che, good to see you, mate. If you can't catch a wave, would you buy Waves coin?
That's funny.
I don't need to buy it. I already got that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, yeah, it's funny. On your computer, you're like, oh, waves? No, it's actually
Yes.
surfing. Disappointed.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay, so we're going to get right into it. Today's...
Exciting world. What's up?
Yes. Hey, Bill.
Dave, good to see
CT
you.
Club member Bill. Tracy Stark.
Please film Toby once
I
while
think
surfing.
that happens every time you go on a little bit of a rant, eh?
Yeah.
I won't cut you off this
Sure.
time. How's that,
Okay.
Tracy? Unedited. Okay. So as if you guys got signed up for my newsletter, then the news coming out today is quite timely because I was pretty much talking about DeFi and how, although it could be a good idea, it's getting swept up in this kind of greed mentality of just making money, and a lot of scams are going to be, in the mix with all these new DeFi platforms because it's so new. And as such, as with anything, especially in this cryptocurrency space, over time, the good projects will remain true and remain running. And scams tend to not last that long. So at this point, whether it's a scam or it is just poorly written smart contract code, or it's just loopholes or bugs that, hadn't been anticipated, a lot of things to get ironed out yet in this DeFi space. And today's news about the DeFi liquidity provider balancer hack that left people losing over around $500,000 is just adding another one to the list of these hacks that have happened this year. So for those of you who might be questioning actually what happened, I'm just going to go ahead and read from the article because I think they say it best. They start off quite appropriately with the CTO pretty much, admitting we were not aware this specific type of attack was possible. And the things that Toby and I were always talking about are these attack vectors. And over time, they will get strengthened if it is an honest project, and they have the wherewithal and the ability to address these issues and remedy them. It will be all the more stronger for it. So
the hackers are getting paid to help out with this.
Yeah. Okay.
Essentially.
They talk about the guy. Obviously, the person who was able to hack this is very in the know with coding smart contracts, which is how he was able to figure out this loophole. So tons of smart people in this space for the good and bad and the ugly. But anyway,
you have the smartest minds in this space.
Let's get into actually what happened. In a blog post, Balancer CT, again, all of these news stories can be found down below in the video description if you guys want to read along or check out the entire article. Balancer CTO Mike McDonald said the attacker had borrowed $23 million worth of WETH tokens and Ethereum-backed tokens suitable for DeFi trading in a flash loan from DYDX. They then traded against themselves with Statera, an investment token that uses a transfer fee model and burns 1% of its value every time it's traded. The attacker went between WETH and STA 24 times, draining the STA liquidity pool until the balance was next to nothing. And because Balancer thought it had the same amount of STA, it released WETH that equaled to the original balance, giving the attacker a larger margin for every trade they completed. And as well as WETH, the attacker performed the same attack using WBTC, Link, and SNX, all against Statera. I'm probably butchering that token. So they lost a lot of money, and
it doesn't matter. They already got butchered.
Yeah, and they don't have the ability to reimburse those people who saw the loss. So when I say, this is the price that we pay, literally and figuratively, this is one of those situations where it is risky to be in DeFi.
It's really risky. And
Toby likes the risk, apparently, because that's what he said
I
Saturday.
I do. It's not for everybody. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
I love giant waves. I love doing a lot of stupid things in life. So with that said, I will play with, a little bit of money. And because the risk reward ratio is not always there. But you can sure make...
Sorry.
Oh,
Thank
thanks,
you,
Tasman.
Tasman. Amazing. Thank you for the tip. And for the reminder to announce that we now have Super Chat enabled for these live streams. So for those of you who want to say thank you, want to help support this channel, or just to make sure that your comment gets seen and paid attention to, you can leave a tip using that Super Chat option down below. You'll see it's like a little money sign. Anyway, thank you so much, Tasman. It's amazing.
Sure.
We really appreciate it. Great.
So with that said, and if you don't have a ton of risk in you, then just go with, staking coins. I mean, that's a lot better.
If you're looking just for passive income, I mean, I did a class all on that too. Staking coins and really the Crypto Tips approved way to earn a passive income with cryptocurrencies. Far less risky, guaranteed returns.
Yeah.
You can keep it in your possession, in your cold storage wallet for most of the options. A much better way to do it.
And I'll put it out there right now. I know it's kind of soon, but Heidi and I are working on a way to have a staking service.
Yeah.
So, so we pretty much, because we travel so much, we have a very good friend who's been honest.
Yeah.
And
but it's really cool seeing him gain a real interest in this and just go for it. So he's been learning how to run these delegators, for being a baker for Tezos and for a lot of these other staking coins. So for those of you who don't know who to delegate to, or you don't have the computing power to be a staker yourself or validator, we're working on that. It's not yet launched, but it's in the works.
It'll probably be on learningcrypto.com when it happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone asked Junie, can you talk a few words about Magnetic? Do you want to do that now or save it for the end?
Sure. Magnetic is a movie that I star in. So it pretty much takes
Netflix.
On Netflix. It's pretty much it shows a story of a couple teams. So one team is surfing, one team is wingsuiting. It kind of shows my Russian tow partner. His name is Andrei Kar, and it shows pretty much the story of how we met, what it takes to surf out here when it's 80, 90 feet, and that's how big the waves get here on several times a year, and just what it takes to surf. It shows some really horrific wipeouts,
but the kind of dedication and focus that you need to have to be a teammate, to go in,
because there's not a lot of people in the world that actually want to surf here. It's more of like I say in the movie, it's a spectator sport. So you're going to have thousands and thousands of people watching us from the cliff, and 3 tow teams out there, 4 tow teams at max, and they're all watching us surf. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And Heidi actually got married out
engaged and married
in the surf. I took her out on a giant day, probably like 70, 80 foot.
Yeah.
Nobody out, and I took her right in between like all the chaos and stuff, and that was a
yeah. So just
I
in
was
case
so scared for her
just in
life.
case I said no, it was an easy out.
Yeah. Anyways,
no, it was really
so
memorable.
that's pretty much the movies. But check it out. Let us know how you like it.
Hey DX Real, glad you're catching us live as well. Hey David, Gail, good to see you here as well. Okay, so Jonathan Allen asked, what traits or characteristics do you regard as red flags that may signal bad, scammy, doomed DeFi projects or behavior? Thank you, Junie. That's amazing. He said magnetic is superb. Wild production. Yes,
awesome.
And Johan.
Totally
Thank
helps
you.
us out.
You guys are awesome. Okay.
Thank you,
traits or characteristics that I regard as red flags for DeFi projects right off the bat, if they're calling just like a decentralized exchange, if it's trying to, go with this wave of DeFi and yet they're requiring centralized custodianship of your coins, it's not decentralized. And that amount of trust that they are requiring should be a red flag. Now, BlockFi is a massively popular DeFi platform, as well as Celsius. These both require, you to give them their coins. BlockFi is very transparent as to how exactly they're securing your coins. And even if you're doing it for lending, like if you want to earn a percentage back, they're also very transparent as who they're lending out to. That's information that you as a lender should know is, how your money is being handled and who is getting it, who is borrowing your money, like the likelihood of you getting a return back from there. So I know that BlockFi works with very reputable investors and things like that. So there's not I wouldn't say there's a lot of risk there. There is risk apparently with your information with BlockFi because they did have a hack recently that sacrificed a lot of people's identifiable information. And because that platform works so closely with Gemini, it being a US-based exchange, you have to go through a lot of KYC information. And that information you are ultimately having to trust them to store it correctly. And unfortunately, that didn't work out so well recently for BlockFi. I think those are two, you'll find many
the experimental right now, but it's not anything super brand new. It's not groundbreaking. It's none of that stuff. It's really just taking old finance and kind of just, like I said last time, it's putting another
it's not
dress
like
on the
some
pig.
Super innovative idea.
No.
It's literally the definition of a savings account in a bank. But you're just it's a way to earn more cryptocurrency using the cryptocurrencies that you have without having to do trading. So,
and I was talking with Heidi the other day, and I'm like, you know what? I think that this whole DeFi and the staking are going to come together as the next kind of boom that's going to happen, because you have negative interest rates like literally all around the world.
It's next killer app for cryptocurrencies, really.
Like nobody's gonna want to keep
the ability to have a passive income is going to be a game changer for many people who are losing their jobs or they're in currencies that are rapidly devaluing. So lots of solutions.
For sure.
Anderson Bradley, awesome. He said, hey, Toby, have you ever seen surf movies Magnaplasm or Bruce movie? I was the lead cinematographer.
I'm going to have to check that out.
We're going to have to check this out. We're going to have a surf movie night tonight.
I'll have to take a picture of that. Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm not that familiar with Polkadot, Jimmy. I'll have a look at it. And I'm going to be, because DeFi is such a rapidly growing space, I will be continually covering those and looking more into them, but I haven't got into that one yet. Okay, so moving right along to the next story.
But if you really quick, once again, if you guys need a residual income, staking is beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I do
amazing.
a class on staking coins for the my Patreon people in the CT Club. $7 a month, but you get access to classes that come out roughly every 3 weeks, and not this most recent one. The one before that was about staking coins, all about it, what to expect,
and
all that stuff.
Not only is that it's safer, I mean, you get to put it on a lot of them on your ledger or your
exactly
or something, or
that's
hardware
like the
wallet.
safe way to do it.
You're not gonna have a hacker.
Not only
not
in your
care.
possession, but securely in your possession
Exactly.
in your cold wallet. Okay, so this one turns out, well, this isn't so new, but earlier this month it came out that Chain Analysis has a way to track Dash and Zcash transactions, even if they're using the private send of Dash or the privacy features of Zcash. Now, both of these coins you have to opt in to the privacy features. So I feel like that in itself would make it easily to be tracked by Chain Analysis. But additionally, they're saying here, again, a link to this is down in the description if you want to see it. It says, despite these privacy features, Chain Analysis announcement asserts that it's possible to connect inputs and outputs on some private send transactions for Dash, and in some cases identify the single address from which the output came. And also it says 14% of Zcash transactions utilize one of the protocol's shielded pools, but only 0.9% of Zcash transactions are entirely encrypted. That's another thing. It's these opt-in. You'd be surprised, even though people are using these like privacy available cryptocurrencies, they're not choosing to enable the privacy features, which is kind of crazy. Only 0.9% of Zcash transactions are entirely encrypted. It says this means most don't use the privacy function of the protocol, and those that do can still be identified in some cases, according to the research on shield pool usage patterns. They say, so even though the obfuscation on Zcash is stronger due to the ZK snark encryption, Chain Analysis can still provide the transaction value and at least one address for over 99% of Zcash activity. That's insane. And you know what's even more insane is that fungibility is such a cornerstone and requirement for this cryptocurrency space to be successful. We have this company, Chain Analysis, that is actively fighting against that. And we have exchanges like Coinbase that are supporting it and facilitating it. It is wild.
But it's okay because you know this is going to happen. And I mean, like I said,
I mean, thank God
before, for every
Monero
action
exists, or
for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So you're going to get people that are going to fight back. I mean, this is good. I'm happy about this because Chain Analysis doesn't have this as smart of people working for them as do some.
I mean, it's not a government entity. That's usually your argument for like people working for government against crypto.
No, but it kind of is working for government, and cypherpunks know this.
Yeah.
So they're not going to sell their souls for this. They listen. The smartest people in this space don't need the money. They just don't need the money. I'm telling you this right now. They don't need the money. I know people that do not need the money.
Yeah.
And they will fight to the death, or with this stuff, to make sure that this stuff gets annihilated and that they'll never catch up. So it's a war essentially right now. So it's a war on privacy and currency. So,
But another, sorry, I just want to get through these. Another easy way to help provide anonymity or more anonymity to your activities with cryptocurrencies, even if you're using Bitcoin or Ethereum or some like non-privacy centric cryptocurrency, just generate a new public address every time you're interacting with it. Any HD wallet, hierarchical derivation wallet, HD wallets, most of them are, you can easily generate a new public address. Basically, if you have something like a mnemonic phrase that was generated when you created that wallet, it's an HD wallet, and you're able to do that. So I highly encourage it. It's something that Satoshi definitely encouraged, and for good reason.
And lastly, that article is probably irrelevant now because
it was early this month. It was not the most recent.
Well, I'm just saying, it's probably irrelevant right now because they've already fixed that issue of what they can hack into or they can track. So once programmers or developers know what is happening,
they know that it's a weakness now. I don't know that they've already addressed it.
I'm sure.
It was Toby.
I'm sure other coins are addressing that.
Yes, they know what it's also an argument for like these new coming coins, if they're aware of the issues where these kind of trailblazer coins have gone through, they already have that step ahead and they can be that much better for it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
And speaking about
it's
Dash,
why open source is amazing.
And speaking about Dash,
oh no,
why is it still 1,000 to stake when you can just go to Tezos and you have one? Come on, guys! Like,
I have a patron that's always asking. Richard, I believe, is always asking, what are our thoughts on Dash? It seems like they have a solid foundation of a team. They have a solid community behind it. They've done a lot of good work in Venezuela and in Thailand and kind of branching out to the struggling economies. But like we said,
it's $70,000.
Now we're seeing this new interest in
Crazy.
staking coins, and it's kind of interesting. Like I don't know if they can reorganize that to qualify for masternodes or make it easier to delegate your coins, but
So let me ask you something. If you had a choice to invest in something and you had the choice between Tezos or Dash, which one would you get into? Probably Tezos, because most people don't have $76,000 to throw at something to make. And I mean, yes, I get it. Even you can put it into a staking pool or whatever. But why go through the struggle and get that when you can just do something else with only need one for $2.30?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to bash them. I'm just like, guys, wake up. Like this is what the majority of people are going to want.
And similarly to that, with the kind of competition coming out, there's this article saying Ethereum is likely to be dethroned if they don't get Ethereum 2.0 going soon enough. This guy, that's pretty much what roundabout way what this article is all about. And it's something I've alluded to before also is, if Ethereum does take forever to get proof of stake out, there are other proof of stake coins that already exist that are, have been designed to be Ethereum killers. They do the same things. They have the DeFi platforms. They have the token, production things and the dApps and all that. But I don't know. Ethereum still has a very strong network effect, I believe, and great developers that have been around for years now.
I mean,
so
we've heard hundreds and hundreds of these. So whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. We're all going to benefit from this improvement from all over the place. But it'll be interesting to see what happens to Ethereum.
Yeah, it sure will be.
And
it'll be fun.
Like I said before, there's some guy last week, June 10th, so 20 days ago, he paid $2.5 million to send $133. Now, he did that. He made that transaction. He initiated the transaction, and it caught some red flags, and to the point where the people who were running the mining pool for that transaction
had a good night.
Here it is. Wait, this is what I was trying to say. They had a good night.
Yeah.
No, they gave the guy 4 days to come forward and undo it because it was like a lot of money. And they didn't have to do that, obviously. There's some people saying, oh, shame on them. Like, they shouldn't have let that go. But they said they gave him 4 days. And although it says multiple people tried to claim that it was them, but they couldn't prove the signature of the transaction. So they couldn't, send the funds back. So after 4 days, they went ahead and sent it that they divided all amongst the miners. So miners had a pretty good payday there.
Beautiful day.
But it pays to really pay attention to what you're doing and what the transaction fees are.
That's
a major complaint of Ethereum. They still haven't been able to scale properly, and this new excitement over DeFi is seeing Ethereum's fees, transaction fees and transaction times both increase to the point where people are unhappy about it. So to think that there's going to be now some staking coin that can usurp them, I don't know, because are they scalable? No one knows until it's like Ethereum and Bitcoin are constantly hitting this conflict of scalability, and everyone, is claiming to be scalable. But when it comes down to it, you don't know.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting the next bull run, seeing how much people are paying for transactions.
Yeah. And
it's going to be huge.
Oh, not this one.
Gosh, I remember 2017. Just little tiny door and so many people wanting to
Yeah.
send and like
Congestion everywhere. It was like rush hour for crypto.
Yeah.
All the exchanges were full. You couldn't even, some of the exchanges couldn't even onboard new accounts. You couldn't even create an account on an exchange because they couldn't handle they didn't have the support to help new customers.
So if we're already seeing $2.5 million transactions.
No, that's not. That was just complete user failure.
I know, but like, imagine how bad it's going to be.
I don't think many people are going to be able to afford to use Ethereum.
Exactly.
But, so also there was, maybe if you have a Chase account and you're in the US, you might have had a little bit of a heart attack seeing that your balance wasn't properly being recorded. Some people thought, there was a hack on Chase, but they're claiming that it was caused by a technical issue that delayed updates on what displayed on Chase Mobile and Chase Online. We've resolved this issue as of 9 a.m. and accounts now show current balances. So you guys can stop stressing about that. It has not been hacked, at least if it has.
It doesn't matter.
Maybe they were. Maybe they were. They just like added more zeros to everyone's account.
Who cares?
It's
They
all
have a
fake
direct
money anyway.
line to the Fed.
Yeah.
These guys are the Fed.
Speaking of, we're gonna get back into
Yeah.
Toby's topics now. Oh wait, let me check in on the comments for you guys. Sorry. In the US crypto. Okay. I just want to make sure I got caught up on the comments there. Okay. So Toby, what have you got for
All
us
right.
today?
So what I've been saying before is that there's going to be a lot of commercial closures as well. Now we're finding out 41% of businesses on Yelp have been shut down for good during the government shutdown. So with that said,
for good, not just temporarily.
for good, yeah.
They're gone.
So see you later. And that's probably a lot worse now because that was June
only 4 days
25th.
ago.
Yeah, so that's way worse now.
Because it changes that much by the day.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
That's
it
crazy.
does. Like you shut down the global economy, what do you expect? So with that said, Microsoft knows what is happening with the commercial space, and Microsoft is permanently shutting its retail stores. So
It says in the past decade or so, they actually began to expand its retail presence,
yeah, now they're
trying
like,
to compete with Apple. And
oh
now
my
they're like,
gosh, get
no.
out of this space, because they know they're not stupid. They know exactly what's going to happen, and yeah, it's unfortunate. More people are going to lose their jobs. I mean, this is, like I said, it's going to be a snowball effect. So, this right here, 2 million restaurants worldwide at risk of collapse. It's going to be way more than 2 million. I mean, we know at least a dozen around here.
Worldwide, yeah.
Like
It
way
is really
more.
sad because there was a lockdown here for like several months, and then they finally opened everything up, and then you realize, oh, they're not open back up.
No.
Maybe it's just because it's like a weekday. They'll open up on the weekend for sure. No, still closed, and it's really sad.
And they might be open up. Some of them might be open up, but they have like a
fraction of the customers.
fifth of the people that usually come in. So
Yeah.
a business can't run like that. So you're going to see even more people unemployed. And yeah, it's just going to continue. Unfortunately, it's really sad, especially, the people that we know, Heidi and I know, and like, they're like opening up, like, we're struggling big time.
Yeah.
We don't understand what's going on. And like, it's hard to tell them that, hey, I don't think it's going to get any better, like.
Well, you just did an interview for an event here in Portugal, and they were asking your thoughts on, the outlook of the surf industry.
Yeah.
And
So
we
I'm
were
like,
advisable. We're
I'm
talking
like
to some friends about it. They're like, yeah, maybe try not to be so doom and gloom.
I mean,
it's
because
true.
everybody's like, yeah, people are spending money on surfboards and stuff like that. I'm like, guys, yeah, they spent money because they got a stimulus check, and people have no clue about what's going to happen to the global economy. And so, the surfing industry is like such a tiny part. It's like a $10 billion industry out of just like trillions it's just ridiculous. So it's so small, it's just almost irrelevant. But it was hard to tell them, like, hey, you guys rely on sponsors, everybody. Like, surfing's a luxury sport. people aren't going to have the money to go ahead and spend on that. They're going to have to feed their families. And if they do have a business, try to, keep their business alive. That's pretty much where their cash is going to go. Unless the government just keeps giving out.
And where is that cash coming from anyway?
Print.
Yeah.
Brr. And that's going to create massive inflation because that's currency, being directly injected into the economy. So when you have currency that is being directly injected in there, it's being sent, it's saturating the currency supply. It's devaluing that currency. Now, with that said, that whole dollar deleveraging thing, I think that's going to have to take place first. So I still think you're going to see a dollar rise before a fall. Okay, so a quarter of all personal income in the U.S. comes from the government. And that's
UBI, here we come.
Yeah, and that's going to jump much, much higher. Because the more that people lose their jobs, the more they're going to rely on government help. Because there's no jobs. It's just nothing. People are scared to go outside. People are freaked out, and it's going to really kill businesses. And once those businesses die off, then people will have to lay off, and then they can't afford their rent or whatever else, and then it just keeps going. So okay, the Great Reset. So I only wanted to read this quote to you, and this wasn't thought up anytime recently. I can guarantee you that. But this guy, Professor Klaus Schwab, founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, which you probably all know. He says the pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world. This is, I feel, the plan for these guys. They know what's going to happen. They understand. And they are totally prepared to roll out some crazy stuff that you've never thought of before. And like we were reading before,
it's interesting the way that it's worded. You seem like you want to think it's something positive.
Gosh.
But if you just take a second and think of the way that it could go the other way, it's horrifying.
Yeah. Like we were just looking at an app that might be made mandatory for 15 different countries around the world to probably test it out. The US, UK, Australia, Canada, Portugal's one of them, but it's not going to work because they don't have the infrastructure, I don't think.
Yeah, but I think the people would be very much against that.
It's pretty much it's a tracking app, so you have to have doctor or clearance with your app and show that before you walk into a restaurant, before you do banking, before you go to a hospital or whatever. So they're going to want to track you. So if this does come out, just remember that there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government measure. They will never let they will never stop this program. I'm letting you guys know that right now. So if it does happen, man, it's a really sad day in history because,
the precedents that they're setting are scary.
Yeah, there would be no privacy anymore.
Yeah.
You're going to have to carry it around that phone all the time. And if you don't, you're probably going to get arrested, at least have a paid visit by the police. So this is what happens, when things get way out of control, when governments really want to seize power over its citizens. And like I said before, police and military will always turn on their citizens. I know I get a lot of slack for that, but it's true. Just look at history, and this time is no different, especially nowadays because there's no hiding now. Reason why I don't think it's going to happen in smaller countries like Portugal is they don't have the infrastructure. Like there's not a lot of police here, and so there's just nobody really cares too much. Whereas the US, UK, Canada, man, like be careful, because I mean they have the infrastructure there. It's going to turn into an absolute panopticon. So just keep an eye on what's happening, and just pray that this stuff doesn't happen. Okay, moving on. Qantas sacks 6,000. So this is just more evidence that people aren't going to be traveling as much. People aren't going to be flying as much. This is just what I see. Some people think, the airline industry is going to be all back together again, in a couple years from now. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a pain in the butt to travel. If you thought post 9/11 was hard, wait till you see this. And GNC filed for Chapter 11. Yep. So it's just I threw this in there because this thing's been around for a long time. But you're going to have I think, let me see this move up a little bit. So it says here that there is going to be a wave of bankruptcies like you've never seen before.
You need to go more?
Whatever. It's pretty much what it says. I mean, they've been calling for this for a while. But yeah, there's going to be more and more and more bankruptcies. Just wait, just watch. Don't listen to people that say everything's going to be fine, everything's going to turn back to normal. So there's never been a better time to put your cash to work in Bitcoin, especially Bitcoin. Like if anything, just Bitcoin, all right? Because it's the most secure network in the freaking history of the world. It's amazing. It's global, it's permissionless, and you're not going to have any government telling you where you can or can't send that money. And if they do try to ban any of this, there's going to be a huge black market for this. So that is number one. That's number one thing I'm doing. I think that's smart for everybody to do. And I tell my friends to do that as well. So, yeah.
So that's all you got for us?
That's all I got. Okay. Yeah, Hertz and all. That's just that's just what happens when you have quantitative, unlimited, and infinity. So yeah, that's nothing big. I mean, people are like, oh, the stock market's gonna fall. It's gonna fall. It's gonna fall. It's gonna get crushed, and whatever. Like, well, you never know. I mean, they have quantitative easing, unlimited. So who knows? You don't know. It's up to them what they want to do. Charts are meaningless. Fundamentals are meaningless, as we see with Hertz and so on. So yeah, it's time to write traditional finance off, throw it in the gutter. We're going to start anew.
Hi, Dave D. You made it just in time to see the closing.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it will be available after we wrap it up. You can watch it if you want. So that's it for today's video. Thank you, everyone, for participating in the live stream. We appreciate you. And yeah, so now you're all caught up, roughly, in crypto and otherwise. All right. So we'll be, what?
Oh, this person says he up here.
Okay. My next video will be going over unstoppable domains and a decentralized internet and decentralized web domains. So
that'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So that'll be coming up in the next couple days. Don't miss it. In the meantime, I hope you guys are staying happy and healthy. We'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.